From the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery in Nashville, Tennessee, it's Gardening Inside Out, a podcast with highlights from our Saturday morning live show, answering all your gardening questions, giving you plant advice for any space in your life. Let's start the show.
Hey, it's Caroline.
Hey, it's Austin.
Hey, it's Tyler.
No, it's not. We have an imposter.
Just kidding. It's
Gotcha.
Ben.
It's Ben.
It's
me.
Benny Ben.
Uh-huh.
He is joining us today for the podcast intro. Tyler is in North Carolina.
Yeah, he is.
Beautiful country.
It sure is.
I've seen some of the photos.
Ben, you're our special guest today. Y'all, just so you get to know Ben a little bit, I'm going to let Ben talk about himself, obviously. But from what I know about Ben is that he's really into some odd plants. Some cool stuff.
He's
some
in
different
some very
stuff.
cool plants. He gets me cool
I
plants
like
for
the
my
forgotten
birthday.
plants. Yeah.
You do,
Yeah.
if that's what you want to call it. The forgotten plants.
Call my landscape the forgotten garden.
Uh-huh. You really like juniper. That's for sure a thing.
Yep.
You've got some beautiful Taylor junipers at your house that you planted. I don't know how you planted those. Those were massive.
And they look fantastic.
They really do.
Just roll them in.
Well, because you got all those deer that eat all your plants, right? So you have to
Yep.
plant a lot of deer-resistant
So
stuff.
if anyone ever needs deer resistant, I mean, I've got, we're in the epicenter of deer country. And, yeah, I'm definitely a specialist at this point.
Ben's the go-to. And your asters are starting to bloom right now. You
Yep.
planted a ton.
Love them. Deer won't touch them.
Really? I didn't
Interesting.
know those were deer-resistant.
I didn't either. Mm-hmm. And you have a ton of deer. Don't you even have like an electric fence around your property a little bit to keep them out?
I did, but it didn't work.
That's deer for you.
They would get underneath it and then get tangled, and it was not worth it. So,
A
So you took
nightmare.
it out.
yep.
Well, at
good.
least there's some plants out there that you can plant that are
Oh, yeah.
going to keep them away.
You know, there's one plant for sure that I know deer will not eat, but I don't think you've got a lot of shade in your yard, do you? Because I know they will not eat hellebore, the Linton rose.
Oh, and they
No,
won't
I'm
eat
working on
you
the shade.
either.
Yeah, working on the shade, getting trees established. But
Nick, you don't have a lot of shade. Yours is all sun, both of you.
Yeah, I'm all sun too.
I've
I've
got
got
a ton of
walnut
shade.
trees, which is
Oh,
shade, but not
but
viable.
not great shade. Not the good shade that you want.
No, because they're producing that chemical that we don't want that a lot of plants won't even grow.
We did talk about that on the show.
We did. We talked about this last week on the show. It's called juglone. Is the chemical obviously that is affects a lot of different plants out there. But we talked about how viburnum was not one of them because my viburnum is right up underneath it. Speaking of viburnum, you like viburnum too, Ben. You bought
Tough.
me a viburnum for my birthday.
Is it alive?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Is
alive.
it the one that's planted under a walnut tree?
No, that's not the one. I actually got that one elsewhere. I don't remember why I got that one. No, Benny got me one. What did you get me? You got me that one with the red. It always goes like kind of red fall color early. Cranberry something.
Cranberry viburnum.
Yeah. You got me that.
I love them. They're rugged, fast.
Why are they called
And
cranberry? The color?
I think it refers to the seed, right?
Good, fast, and cheap.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was a little behind on that. I was turning off the air conditioning.
Well, they are. I mean, they get big quick, and if you have a small space, they're not really good to be on your list. But if you have a big space, they're a good softening shrub. And,
Yeah. And for you to give me a birthday present, they're cheap. So thanks.
Yeah, they're a cheap
well, I just got you a
present.
bit. I was able to get you a bigger one.
You did,
for a
and
better price.
I think I was telling Caroline last week that I planted those, so that one specifically up kind of in like one of the driest spots of my yard, in between, as a matter of fact, two Taylor junipers. They look pretty good. Man, that thing has been stressing this year because of our drought, but it's still totally hanging on.
It'll be fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. It's awesome.
Wait, did you say you planted something between two Taylor junipers?
Yeah.
You have Taylor junipers?
Yeah, remember I got them for my, I selfishly got them for my kids for their Christmas trees, for their room because I wanted them.
Oh, that's right. And you planted them around your fire pit.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they kind of flank the fire pit, which is honestly looking back like the worst place to put juniper around a fire pit.
Yeah, they're pretty flammable.
Yeah, I know. It was a bad idea.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just hose them down before you have fire.
Yeah, just get them all moist, so
Yeah.
it'll be okay.
Oh, me.
I've got switchgrass around my fire pit, which I dug up from a client's house this spring.
I remember that.
Set them on top of the ground, did not plant them, and they're kicking. They're
Yeah.
fine.
Rooted.
You gave
Yep.
me some too, and I was able to separate them.
Yep.
So I have 6 or 7.
I had one out of like 18 die.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I had one out of
Yep.
the
Yep.
however many you gave
And the
me.
deer will just wade right through them. They won't touch them. So it's a good,
And it's Northwind too, I'm pretty sure.
good
Seems
field
like
plant.
it. Mm-hmm.
And you literally just sat them on the earth? Didn't plant
Sat
it
them on the earth, on the turf. I mean, there's
on
no
turf.
Didn't scalp the ground, just threw them on the ground and said, I'm out of here.
Where you put them is pretty low, and you have that stream that goes by. So
It's on the hill,
Oh, it is.
dry hillside. Yep.
Wow.
Wow. That is incredible, y'all. Northwind switchgrass. Just set them on the turf like
It's
Benny
probably
does.
rooted in just a little bit, but
I'm sure.
they're tough.
Oh, they're very tough. Once in college, there was a tulip poplar that got stuck just kind of to the side. It was balled and burlapped, and it never got planted, just sitting above the earth. Totally rooted in. It's probably like a 70-foot tree now. And like the whole root ball is above the earth, and the rest of it just tapped in. Well, you know, Ben, how it is out here. If we have a plant that sits on the tree lot for too long on the gravel, it's rooting through that pot, and it'll just grab onto the earth. Specifically, like weeping willows do it real bad, but a number of plants do that.
Oh, yeah. I've had stuff do it on my driveway that were in nursery pots. I had a blueberry, and then the roots went all out. And when I went to pull it up, I was like, oh, my gosh.
Sounds like you're tearing off Velcro whenever you're having to peel that too.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
I had what was that? It was a euphorbia I had, maybe, or a cactus I had at one point that I showed you had like climbed up. It had like touched the wall and like stayed on it, and I had to like peel it off the wall. Do you remember that?
Oh.
It had like aerial roots or something. Now I can't for the life of me remember.
I think that was the dragon fruit, wasn't it?
It may have been.
That'll climb.
I think it was a dragon fruit. Yeah, it gets aerial roots and it'll attach itself.
Plants are crazy.
They are. I don't have my
insane.
dragon fruit anymore. I think that was a cutting I gave you because I remember giving you one.
That's right. Yeah.
Do you still have it?
No.
What?
I
I'm
don't
just
know what
kidding.
happened
I don't
to it.
have mine anymore either. Mine got too out of control and I let it freeze because it was massive.
Yeah. Can get that
But
way.
no fruit. Have you ever seen a fruit produce on them?
Not here. No. And I had mine for like 8 years.
I couldn't imagine that thing supporting a dragon fruit.
I know. Well, they're big. I mean, if you've ever seen the plant, like you guys have seen them, like it's
It's like a Joshua tree. It's like a big. Did they get big?
no, I mean, just the plant itself is huge.
Did you know that Joshua tree is just yucca?
Mm.
Isn't that crazy? It's a big old yucca plant.
I don't
It's
know
been
if I
growing
did
for
know
a very
that.
long time.
I've been
are
there.
cool.
That's a cool place.
I have not been.
It was an odd place, actually.
I was close to it, but I didn't go there.
We were there kind of at night, and like I got a little nervous.
Ooh,
not gonna
that's
lie.
a little bit spooky at
I
night.
mean, yeah. I mean, it wasn't like night. We didn't like stay the night. I was with a group of college friends, but then the coyote started yapping off in the distance, and I was like, I'm
And
out
you
in the
said, "We gotta
middle
get outta here."
nowhere. Yeah, and I'm like,
There's
let's
also
go.
snakes out there, and you're very scared of snakes.
I stayed there
I hate
night
snakes.
with a friend, and we didn't realize how cold it got at night. We
Oh.
did not bring firewood.
Yeah.
Oh no!
So it was like getting your sleeping bag in the car, and because it gets so cold out there,
Yeah.
and then
does.
it gets hot.
Yep, during the day it was hot when I was there. That's for sure.
Well, what's going on in your garden beds right now, this time of year? I know Ben's asters are starting to bloom. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
While everything else is crashing.
Well, everything.
So
I mean,
it's like a cutback season, probably
Soon.
is right. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I've got a lot of goldenrod. I did not plant that, but it's a great native that I have growing wild on my property.
We were talking about that earlier today. My God, the goldenrod is everywhere
It's
in my woods.
I love it.
I've
I
got
think it's
ironweed.
gorgeous.
Sometimes ironweed will poke up with the goldenrod.
Oh, yeah, all
like on
over the
side of
place.
Nature's
interstate.
bouquet.
Definitely.
Yep.
The ironweed, I noticed though, it does not bloom near as long as goldenrod does. Goldenrod
It's
has
earlier.
been-
Usually, I've
It's a
had
little.
it.
It's like a week earlier, but then it kicks off. Like my field was filled with ironweed and goldenrod. Now almost all goldenrod, no ironweed. So just so you know,
Yeah,
not
the
as long of a
ironweed
bloom time.
bloomed a little bit earlier. But I think that's all I have blooming.
Mine's
other
just
than
a
my
bunch of crabgrass growing to seed, pretty much.
Ugh.
Mm.
Yeah.
Man, I had a lot of that going on too. But I actually cut the grass last night, right before. Hey, it rained. It rained today.
It's raining right now.
Is it? I can't
it's
hear. I
spotty.
can't hear the.
Yeah,
the
you
tin
can
roof.
kind of hear it a little bit.
Well, it definitely rained earlier. It seems like it's going to rain more. We've got this something going through. Ben's got a fake radar up.
Oh yeah, it's,
A fake radar up? What is a fake
I'm not
radar?
connected
He's
to
on
the
a computer
interwebs right
somehow,
now.
but it's not a real radar.
He's got a toddler computer right now. that
Yes.
It's just one solid picture.
like sunny
acting
skies,
like it's
y'all.
the radio.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I mean, much welcomed rain for sure. We have not had rain here, y'all. I mean, a lot of people across the country really
It
haven't.
has been dry. And I bought a corkscrew willow. So,
Hey.
corkscrew willow. So I'm very happy that it's raining. I did not plant it this weekend. I'll probably plant it this week, but it's in the pot. So it needed to be watered.
Definitely.
I did cut a bunch of those branches and put them in a vase with goldenrod and gomphrena. And y'all, that might be the cutest arrangement I've ever made.
That sounds like one of the most random arrangements I've ever heard of.
I'll take pictures so you can see it. It was goldenrod, pink and red gomphrena, and then the corkscrew willow going up high.
That's
Good
actually
early fall
that's a-
bouquet.
That's a great idea, actually, using the twisty sticks as and they'll root. You know.
Yes, they will. And then I'm going to have corkscrew willows all over my
I
property.
think you should start topping that willow at a certain point, and you'll be able to harvest. Just
I think I will. I kind of want to keep it short.
Yeah.
So it's like short and chunky.
Tight,
Yeah.
And then you
I
just
don't
come
want it
in
to
and
get big.
shear it this time of year, and you'll have some swizzles.
Should I cut it this now? After I put it in the ground? Does it really matter?
Doesn't matter with a willow, really.
Yeah.
No.
I
mean,
guess
he
it's going to
can't
grow
grow
no
there.
matter what.
Pretty much, yeah. If it gets warm enough, like even if when it's dormant, like even in the spring, if it gets warm enough to leaf out, it will. And then a killing frost will come, like it always does here in Middle Tennessee. And then they'll just re-leaf back out. Like they hardly ever die. Speaking of a interesting story about a corkscrew willow, back off where I live, off this holler area, it's always been there. It's like old tractors and it's this little farmhouse. And this corkscrew willow had blown over. Well, there was another one beside it, and the dude never did do anything with it. It just literally blew over. So almost, I would say more like 90% of the root ball was exposed and up. And like we were talking about earlier, how plants can reroot, like that thing is still, it's been like 3 years. That thing is still laid over in his yard.
And just
it's
growing?
growing like crazy. And it's only got probably 10%. It's tapped back into the earth, you know, but the root ball is still exposed to the air.
Are there branches on the ground?
Yeah, they're on the ground.
Do you think those branches have started to root in at all?
Probably.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You could probably cut the trunk, stand it up, and have 2 trees.
You're probably right.
Probably could.
That'd be cool.
I
Yeah,
want
I've
to
seen
see
some
that.
oaks do that with those water
yeah.
water sprouts.
Uh-huh. So I feel like I've said this before, but one time me and my little brother took a piece of firewood from a corkscrew willow, and it was a big corkscrew willow. He had cut it down off a job, and it looked like firewood, like a big round, trunk of a tree. Literally, we just threw it into the earth. I was like, dude, we need to bury it. We need to just see, because I knew they rooted so crazy. So yeah, we threw a firewood in a hole, and it rooted and made a
Are
tree.
you serious?
Yep, and it's still there.
How had you just cut it down?
He did, yeah. I mean, it was off a job. He came home and
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just had a big old piece of trunk.
it was it. Yeah, which it looked like firewood. Like I said, it was at Mama's old house, and we dug a hole and threw it in the ground.
Willow trees are crazy.
Oh, they're insane.
I love them. I'm so excited to have a corkscrew willow.
What is it? Benny, what is it? Salicylic acid? Is
Yep,
that what they
it
put?
is.
Yeah.
When they form thickets, you get into certain parts of the country, and you'll get whole fields of willow just kind of growing in mass.
Yeah, we have a lot of sandbar willow here.
Yeah, that's kind of our native.
Yeah, I've got a couple just down along a stream on my property.
You know what I
Little
love is that.
volunteers.
And Monrovia, shout out Monrovia, who is a great plant grower.
Yeah, we love you, Monrovia.
They have a flamingo dappled willow.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Wow, what a pretty plant. Like, seriously, dappled willow should be grown. And they grow it up on a tree form, so you get this standard, but don't let that thing fool you. That goes crazy. If
Also,
you're not
don't let
cutting
it dry out.
It'll
Yeah.
get up to your gutters.
Oh, man, it gets to be
It'll
a
get
tree.
past your gutters.
Yeah, they get huge. But what you were talking about earlier, Caroline, with the corkscrew willow, keeping it topped and tight, is
Yeah.
like what you have to do with that plant. And that gives you that greatest show in the spring. You just get so many more stems, so you get so many more pink and white, dappled.
Dappily dappled.
Then you just go
It's so
sticking all
good.
those stems in the ground, you're going to have
And then you're going to have
more.
a hedge of them. I made the mistake of buying a little 1 gallon. It was the spring or summer. I planted it, never watered it, died right away.
Yeah,
I think
oh,
I've talked about that before, but I planted it at the bottom of a hill, and I knew I would never walk down and water it.
That's about the only thing you can't do to a willow. you got to keep it wet.
Got to keep it wet. Yeah,
You do.
I tried.
You can
Actually, I
plant
didn't.
too deep even if you want to. Usually that's a no-no, but
Yeah, it's fine. with
stick
a
them in a
willow.
hole. Yeah.
Stick them in a hole.
Oh man, speaking of things that like water, my oops, sorry, just hit the old mic there.
Should have seen that hand pull back real fast. Reflexes.
Things that like water. My rise and fall. What is it? I forget. Taxodium. I can't even think of the
It's a
common
cypress?
name. Yeah, bald cypress.
Yeah.
It is money right now, but it's starting to go through that color change that is really pretty. Like honestly, I didn't used to like it all that much when I was younger, but like as I've gotten older, I like respect that like burnt. Burnt doesn't sound like it'd be
It's like
good for
copper.
plants.
Yeah.
Like copperish, reddish
How
almost.
could you not have liked that?
I don't know. It just kind of looked dead to me.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, it does kind of have a dead look to it. I see
But
what
if
you're
you
saying.
see them at, like if there's green grass,
Yes.
and then you see that, it looks really
contrast.
good in a, we're used to seeing them in a swamp where it's like brown on brown on brown.
That's a
brown
good
on brown on
Yeah,
brown.
it's like 3 tones of brown, but if you have them against some other landscaping,
That's a good point. That's a cool plant.
It is. It reminded me of my Don redwood. I'm not ready for it to defoliate, but I'm ready for it to start showing color.
my
it has
cypress
not
has not
started yet.
Mine hasn't because it's in a wet spot.
Yeah, see,
Mine's not in a wet spot,
not
but
either.
mine's not in full all day sun, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, maybe. Mine, like I said, was starting to color up a little bit, but it's really minimal, and it's only kind of from the interior of the plant so far. So it typically works from the interior out, and so that's what's happening right now with mine. I love it. Love
Mine
that
is
tree.
not all. I'm so ready for it.
Man, Dawn Redwood. What a tree.
You know where I got that one from? You.
Probably.
We
Me?
made a bet and I won. It
No.
was the first bet we ever made.
No.
And it had to do with directions. He was like, Caroline, you don't know how to drive there. And I was like, I do. I'll
That
bet
sounds
you a
like me.
plant.
We used to bet more often. We don't do that anymore, really, because
Because I
Plants have
won
gotten
too many
expensive.
times.
no, that's not true. Yeah, it got expensive. That's right, Ben.
No, I lost a few times, a handful of times I had to buy you plants.
Well-
But betting on plants is pretty fun.
Well, that's been like 5 or 6 years ago now. So how big is that thing?
It's huge. I planted it in 2020, so that's when I got it. And
It's got to be at least 10 feet.
oh, it's more than 10 feet. It's hard for me to tell. I'm bad with guessing height, but it's giant. And it was just a little 3-gallon when you gave it to me. It wasn't big at all. It was probably as tall as I am, so a little over 5 foot.
I've had one in a pot behind my shed for 3 years because the deer rubbed it. And I was like, you know what? I can't keep this in the ground. And it has not been planted for 3 years, and it still survives in that little pot.
Really?
They're very tough.
They're tough. The trunk on mine is getting huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My ball cypress are starting to swell too. I love when the trunk starts to get fat like that.
I know. I'm always excited when I'm like, oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Same with my weeping cypress. Weeping cypress, weeping cedar.
Oh yeah, that Alaskan cedar. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, you had mentioned tough plant. My God, I mean that plant lived through ice ages. You know, the dawn redwood.
I thought you meant Alaskan cedar. I was like, well,
No, not that one.
That one's also really
Mayhem, I
tough.
don't know.
That one has it's survived. I guess I didn't have it out 2022. I got it as my Christmas tree in 2022, but I haven't watered it at all. I mean, it's established,
this
but
summer
all
would
winter.
have been the test.
This
but
summer, it grew this summer a lot. Like it was happy.
Well, I mean, with a name like Weeping Alaskan Cedar, you would never think it would want to be happy here in Middle Tennessee. But I have seen a number of specimens that do just fine here.
It didn't get brown at all. Like I said, I never watered it, and it is in all day full hot sun that's reflecting against my white house, and it looked stunning.
Yeah, as conifers go, they're very tough.
Yeah, everybody listening should go get one right now.
Speaking
Come
of-
on out to Bates. I don't think we have any.
Little fun fact while we're here is we just talked about bald cypress and metasequoia, which is dawn redwood, both deciduous conifers.
That look very similar.
very special, very, very tricky.
Yeah.
The only other deciduous conifer I can think of that doesn't live here is larch. What an awful name for a plant.
Isn't that the name of a character in Addams Family?
I think that's lurch.
Lurch. Yeah.
But larch isn't much
Close.
better.
Larch
Yeah.
is worse than lurch.
They live up north, but their fall
They're
color.
pretty.
Oh, their yellow fall color is absolutely
It's
stunning.
like a ginkgo color on a conifer.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
Oh, I'm
pretty
ready
rare.
for
Those are the
fall
only three
color.
I could think of. Just-
And I was just thinking of plants that almost could live here. We've been talking about a few of them out. I mean, larch is one that almost could live
Almost,
here.
yep.
Someone was asking about eucalyptus. They showed me one in North Carolina that was 8-9 foot. And I was like, yeah,
yeah.
one bad year, it'll be to the ground.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
there was something else we were talking about that was a live oak.
Yeah, live oak. We're right on the line.
You know, you could probably get it. I've just never seen one that's 100 years old like
Yeah.
you'd expect.
It's just,
so.
it's going to be taken out, and then you're going to have to take it down after it gets really, really big.
The only one I've ever seen in Middle Tennessee was on MTSU's campus where I went to college, and it was that's all honestly south of here, and also it was very short and kind of stubby.
That
And it
sounds
had
kind of
been
cool,
there.
though.
It's probably died back a few
I
times.
bet it has suffered some dieback, yeah, and I don't remember it staying evergreen here either.
No,
So-
I don't think so.
Yeah, but anyway, there was one in Middle Tennessee.
There was one that
Yep.
survived. Well, we should go ahead and get on into this week's broadcast.
We should. Thank you so much, Benny, for being here, filling in for
you.
Tyler.
That
Hopefully,
was
you're having
nice.
fun, Tyler.
Nice being here.
It is
Yeah,
fun.
we'll have to bring you back on. I
Leave
mean, you've been
anytime
on
you
the
need.
show
I'll
before.
be right here, Tyler.
Tyler, we missed you on the intro, but Tyler was on the broadcast. No, he wasn't. We actually had Rachel
we had
sitting
Rachel.
in. So
Rach.
Tyler's going to be gone this entire episode, so you will not hear his voice, but you will hear Josh Carey, David Bates, me, and Austin.
Y'all have fun.
A guy who's probably unloaded too many trucks this week because he's got a sore neck and back.
Man.
And
Could you just tell by the way he was talking?
He said he slept weird.
He slept weird,
Weird, man.
which is
That's better
really,
than funny, I guess. Better
Well,
than
what it
sleeping funny.
means is he went to bed weird.
Oh.
And he
must
was
have.
already, you think you're going to wake up and it's all better. And I had the same thought last night because I've been working on some projects and. At my advanced age, it just takes very little to make things hurt. And so I was hurting last night. I thought, you know what? I'm not going to take Tylenol PM I'm not going to take Tylenol. I'm just extra strength Tylenol. I'm not going to take anything.
Yeah.
But this morning when I awakened, I felt differently
Yes,
about it. I
yes.
go, I'm going to have something to get me rolling. So anyway,
Okay.
I am feeling better. But as we both acknowledged to Austin, it will get worse.
Yes, dude.
Is there anything else you guys got on your mind specifically about what's been going on around here? Or are you ready to jump right into the questions?
I mean, I got rain this morning at my house, so my plants are happy. But the reason why I got it is because I spent about an hour and a half watering last night.
Of course. Did you wash your car?
I washed the car. I watered all the plants. Pressure washed the driveway.
I believe you watered your plants. You did not wash your car. Not a chance.
No, I didn't.
I know.
I didn't. I'm not good with my car maintenance. But I did water my plants, and then it was raining this morning. But you know what? I am full in house plants as well. We have got some really, really cool plants in there right now.
Those pitcher plants you showed me the other day are pretty. We've never had any that were like this big before.
Yeah, we've got some giant pitcher plants in right now.
Yep. So if you're into carnivorous plants, we got some interesting stuff, and that's just one of the things.
I saw the tulip bulbs came in too.
The bulbs are here.
In.
Yeah, we
Wow.
are stocked up on bulbs right now. We forgot about that, Josh. So I'm glad you brought it up.
Yes,
I mean, a wall of bulbs.
A wall of bulbs.
So come here and get it. I always have these grand plans when the bulbs come in. I'm going to plant all this stuff that I never do.
Anyone who's really got their A game going on will go the Austin Lowen route and buy those bulbs and plant the pansies with them, or violas, whatever your preference is. But boy, that's an efficient activity to do where you get double bang for the time investment and really get a great show come spring. Well, you get an immediate show with the pansies right now.
Yeah, the white tulips would look really good with white pansies, wouldn't they?
Yes, they would, Joyce.
In that blue pot you picked up out here. Yeah, blue pot.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Joyce.
Yeah.
Are
Hey,
you
Joyce.
doing that this year? Are you going to get bulbs?
Yes, probably.
I mean, you have to every year.
If I know me, I'm going to do it. Yeah, I just got to do it.
You won't be Kev if
you don't know, who does?
I know. Well, my mixed containers are really getting tired at this point, and I'm getting tired of watering them. So, yes, maybe today it'll be pumpkin, pansies, all the stuff.
It'll be fall day. I already swapped out my mixed containers. They are
proactive.
I was on top of things this year, not usually. But let's go ahead and get into questions because we did get quite a few. Let's start with deer damage, y'all. No fun. Austin, you have a pine right
I see this. I'm sitting atop a pine.
It looks like a giant microphone, so I'm going to say let's leave it.
Should we? Maybe I'll turn it down.
It's going to pop right back up. We'll figure it out in a minute.
Hi.
Deer damaged maple. Hasn't scarred over completely. Is there anything I should do to it?
No, honestly not. I get deer damage a lot at my house too, mainly from bucks rubbing on your main stem, and this is part of it. Y'all gardening, it's part of it. Josh is coming over here secretly to try to move this pine. You do you.
There we go.
That's
A little more. You're getting close.
This is fun. Y'all are getting to see some behind the. That's perfect, Josh.
There you go.
Yes.
very
Thank
good.
you, sir.
Just right. Just right.
Cool. But whenever it comes to your maple tree, let it heal. It will heal. It's gonna heal over. I promise. It
Leave
just
it
takes
alone,
time.
Josh.
Josh.
Josh, you're distracting everybody.
Oh man.
Now what I would say as a caveat to what you just mentioned, and the damage is done, and it generally is not a lethal act, but there are times when young trees, saplings, anything that's got a stem about the size of your thumb or smaller, they really just waylay them when they're got their antlers coming on. They're trying to rub that off. You should consider, if these are really prized trees, driving maybe 3 stakes in the ground that are about, say, 4 or 5 feet in length, get about a foot in the ground, and just wrap around it with chicken wire or the smaller something to keep them where it creates an annoyance where they'll not make contact directly with it. That's probably the best thing to do. But it doesn't do any good after the fact.
That's right.
Except that it may prevent further damage. And I've got several friends who've reached out to me lately when I encountered them. Hey, I've got this deer problem. I bet you do. Yes, I bet you do. And everybody else seems to as well. But particularly if you have spent money. I mean, and Japanese maples are pretty serious money.
Yes, they are.
You really should think about doing that, at least until you can determine whether deer are a problem in your area. I would not wait until after the fact. They can decimate them in a single evening. So
Yes, they can. They can take them on out. All right, weeping cherry leaves are curling at the top. Is it too stressed?
It is stressed. I don't know that I'd say it's too stressed. I mean, it's a cherry for this time of year. It's just
They're gonna
part
drop
of
off.
it. They are. I mean, specifically Yoshino cherry, that cultivar has already almost lost every single leaf around town. Like, they just shut down early. And then weeping cherries don't seem to do it as bad, but it's getting to that point of year, y'all. I mean, at that time of the year where the leaves are going to start looking a little rough and they're going to start curling and they're going to start dropping soon. So part of it's natural.
It's happening. It's okay. Hey, Joyce did comment.
Hey,
that,
Joyce.
I don't know if you saw my face, my look of shock. I bought red pansies. Joyce got
She
red
did.
pansies.
Joyce bought red pansies.
Wow,
I saw it.
Joyce. Mums, mustard, etc. So Joyce came out, got quite a few things, and then Joyce did ask, is it a good idea to wrap trees to prevent damage?
Well, Risha commented that she wraps trunks with 1 or 2 layers of deer netting. They hate the feel of it.
Yeah. Well, it never hurts to be preventative on damage.
No, but if you only wrap the trunk, that doesn't mean they won't rake further up the trees and break up limbs or whatever. So you just kind of got. That's why I personally prefer at least going up. If you could go 4 feet above the ground and buy the 4-foot width chicken wire where you can just wrap around it. It only takes just one wrap around, but you need to affix it to it, and perhaps that will dissuade them. And I know it doesn't look good.
I don't know. I've got green poultry netting. It's actually hardware cloth. I cut it up about 18 inches. And
Does it look great?
Oh, it's fine.
Amazing.
It kind of mixes in.
You could get that galvanized wire and spray paint it black to make it less noticeable, because what's the deterrent, I should say, is when they make contact with it, they're going to go, hey, what's this?
What's going on
I've
here?
actually heard folks take and use the stakes, but instead of making a physical barrier, they'll put a couple of layers of fishing line between them, and when the legs hit, they kind of freak out and jump back. And what's going on?
Nothing worse than seeing the deer freak out.
Oh man, it's scary.
Get the deer camera.
We're getting into that time of year where it's a little bit scary on the roads right now. Them deer, have y'all noticed? They're starting to roam a little bit.
I saw
Skunks are moving too.
Saw 4 drinking in the creek as I was driving by the other day. So they're
out.
This is when they start moving.
Yep, had one run right into my car last year. That was fun. All right, I had a toppler, a tulip poplar cut down and asked them to leave the wood chips. Can I make mulch with compost? And that comes from Katie on our Facebook page.
Hey, Katie.
Good morning, Katie.
I wouldn't.
I mean, I don't.
I wouldn't do it in a bed around the house. I would, if you've got a pathway or some areas around, you might do that. But you need to let it compost, don't you, David? Before you would let it. You wouldn't want to put just raw substrate wood right up against your home.
I wouldn't.
No,
I have seen. I have seen that occur. The other possible negative aspect of that is if you have raw wood, composted bark is not an attractant to things like termites.
Right.
However, if you have chipped up wood that is not composted, that's what they feed on. So you are very likely, you might not be a problem for you, but likely are inviting them in. So
and not to mention nitrogen fixation.
Right. Whether you are actually personally fixated on it or you're just making it available, the nitrogen in the soil, yes, it will tie up a lot of your macronutrients rather and micronutrients. So you don't want to put non-composted organic material, and wood is one of those things you should avoid. You could use something like cedar chips, which is a raw kind of wood. However, the difference is that cedar breaks down extremely slow and it just doesn't compost. I mean, it could take it 20 years to do anything breaking down wise. So you're not going to have that tying up of nutrients because it's breaking down and absorbing that nitrogen. So there's that.
There you go.
There's that. All right. I have a 9-year-old Southern Magnolia. Thoughts on pruning roots outside of the canopy?
Well,
pruning the roots outside the canopy. I mean, that sounds to me like they have gotten every other project done they can possibly do. I don't know that I've ever thought about trimming magnolia roots.
I've never thought about that either. The only thing I've ever seen before was long ago. What's that guy that grows all the daffodils on that big hillside? He's like a famous plant guy. What's his name? I can't remember it. I can't remember. Anyway, he's a famous kind of gardener. He was growing a wisteria tree. So he tree formed a wisteria and it made it really big. Mm-hmm. And supposedly, in his brain anyway, the roots needed to be pruned. So he went outside the canopy and he took this shovel and he just severed roots all the way across, like right outside the canopy. Alan Smith, what is it?
Alan Smith?
P. Alan Smith. Okay. That guy.
P. Allen.
He did that with a wisteria tree, which wisteria is very aggressive. We all know this. But magnolia, I don't really see a point to do this. Like you said, David, and if you don't have anything else to do, I guess you could go out and do that. But let that 9-year-old just grow them up.
Make sure the trash has been taken out.
Yeah.
And you're recycling, and maybe wash windows. That would be somewhere below.
Clean out the closet.
Yeah. Those kinds of things. But I've never considered. There are people who take issue with maple roots that are very bad about servicing, and you can see some of that in a magnolia. But generally speaking, they grow so wide and so heavily foliated to the ground. If they are exposed at all, it's usually covered by leaf litter, unless you're one of those people who gets in there and maybe this is one of those people that really cleans under the magnolias. It's a target-rich environment down there. There's a lot to do, and they never really give up on dropping leaves. Although they're evergreen, they tend to just defoliate year-round to some extent, really heavily in the spring.
I know that's why you don't like them.
Yeah, I don't.
Now we've got 3. Actually, it's 2 that were planted by the former owner of the house where we live in they've just grown together. It looks like one big one.
Oh, that sounds cool.
But they really chunk down. You don't have to worry about Bermuda grass growing in there because it's total dense, heavy shade.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a bright side to it all.
There it is.
All right, let's talk about some star jasmine. Someone planted some outdoors. When the time comes, should I trim it back for the winter or leave it? I would leave it. When I had mine planted for a couple of years, I just left it. It actually held on to, I'd say, almost half the leaves through the winter. So it looked really good. And then if you're wanting it to grow up something, then it's going to be even higher come spring when it starts pushing out that new growth. Now, you can trim it back if you want to, but you don't need to.
No, you don't need to.
Ain't got to do it. Nope.
It's never a bad time of year to add Earth Mix to your garden. Earth Mix garden products are sustainably sourced, living soils and amendments crafted to give you the best success for your gardening efforts. Establishing a raised bed? Use Garden Premium Topsoil Blend for an excellent performing growing medium for flowers and vegetables. Amend your gardens with their supernatural compost, with all the nutrients needed to recharge existing soils. For houseplants, their Proganics Indoor Grow Mix is a fantastic potting medium that will feed for up to 6 months without the need for additional fertilizer. Earth Mix is sold only at independent garden centers, so head over to earthmix.net/find Earthmix to locate one near you. Success begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix garden products.
You know what it is time for?
What?
To talk about all the plants that are all around.
If somebody has a button to push, this has been when they would push it, right?
We're just going to say
What's in bloom?
with Austin.
There it is. Well, hey, shout out to Rachel over here for running this show.
Rachel is doing fantastic.
You're doing a great. Hey,
With Austin.
hey, better late than never, Rach. You're doing great.
And to her credit, she only gets to do this maybe
Twice a year?
2 or 3
Maybe,
times a year
yeah.
at most. So
Yeah.
I don't know how she remembers it as well as she does.
Oh,
I could never.
If I came in and tried to learn the tech stuff she's doing right now, I would give up. Be like, no,
The whole green
no
room
show.
works.
All the
Explode.
old program directors back in the radio days say, don't touch the buttons, guys.
Yeah,
Don't
I would never
do it. Okay?
Austin
All
would be
those-
the last person at this nursery or probably in Middle Tennessee that we would want trying to
Yes.
do Tyler's.
All those buttons are red buttons to me. Don't push the red button. Don't do it. But hey, shout out to your husband, Rachel. Happy birthday, Adam Chapman.
Yes, happy
Yesterday was his
birthday.
birthday. We got him a blueberry. Happy birthday, Adam, and I'm shouting you out because you're one of your favorite shrubs, the abelia. It's in bloom, okay? Abelia is still one of those shrubs that is throwing tons of blooms. It's really good.
Buy now. As I like to say, buy now, abelia later.
Yep. Hey, those canna lilies are still going out there. They're barely hanging on, but I'm still seeing some.
Yeah, mine are still popping up.
You told me about thistle yesterday. That's a random pokey weed, but you know what?
It's a beautiful
It is a beautiful pokey weed.
medicinal plant.
It is, Hey, hibiscus still barely hanging on.
Does that mean it will make you bleed, or does that mean it's just very slow if it's in that kind of pokey?
It'll make you bleed.
Oh, okay.
It certainly will. Yep. Yeah. Like I said, the perennial hibiscus still going, but almost done. Crepe, myrtle, rose of Sharon. Those are our trees. They're still popping off doing something. Hey, yesterday I saw something on the way home that I had not talked about this whole year.
What?
Gardenia.
Wow.
Shrub for gardenia, people. They are in bloom, and if you've got gardenia, you know they smell like butter and honey, and just like as
butter
good
and
as it is. Butter and honey
wouldn't
mixed.
describe it as that. But
Yes,
I like,
butter
I
and
like
honey mix. You could make
Perfect.
cookies.
with that gardenia.
Hey, you know what's still in the show out there right now? What color? Yellow. Yellow is all about, when it comes to the natives around here, goldenrod and helianthus, the perennial sunflower you talk about, they are everywhere, okay? Looking good. Ageratum, which is a random blue mist flower, people call it. It's still going off, looking good. Hey, y'all, it's fall. So asters, mums, pansies, still going. And then I got two that are kind of new. First off being moonflower, which is datura. And second of all, brugmansia, the angel.
Oh my
Man.
gosh.
Okay, now remember, this is the one that's tricky now. Which one is which? Because you might say, well, the one that points down is the devil's. No.
It's angel.
That's angels because it's coming from the heavens, and the one that points up is the devil.
That's right.
So it's very confusing. You know, you go. It seems backwards.
It does, but hey, like you said, the datura, the moonflower, pointing up.
I'm not sure either heaven or hell knows the difference between those.
No.
They might
No,
not.
I don't
But I
think
do
so.
want to say about that. I pulled into my driveway the other night and saw my angel trumpet, my brugmansia. Keep that hand up. Keep it up.
I had something going.
Blooming, and it was stunning. It is one of my favorite
I
plants.
know. That's why I wrote it down on the list, because you told me about it. So I don't have one right now, so you had to tell me. But look, datura, moonflower, up, brugmansia, down. Down and up. Okay, that's how it goes. All right, and to finish it off, I got to give a shout out to my baby girl, Penny Sue. She's turning 4 tomorrow.
Oh, happy birthday,
Sue, my
Penny.
girl. Me and my wife were putting together a little bike for her last night. And I tell you what, that bike was harder to put together than you'd think.
Pink and purple Barbie bikes are
Especially-
difficult,
It's
man.
not. It's yellow, but it's got
yellow.
a
Yellow
basket.
bike.
Especially when you got
Training
this
wheels.
shoulder thing going
I
on.
think that's
with
part
you.
of it. I think that's what it was. I was on the ground messing with stuff and little things. Anyway, Penny Sue, love you, girl. Happy birthday tomorrow.
Happy birthday,
And what
Penny.
Dad won't do for you, he'll go to any painful length.
I will.
That's right.
Make sure you have a happy birthday.
I do anything for that girl. She's so cute.
Yes.
Oh, she's cute.
Yeah, you
Happy
got
birthday.
All your
adorable
girls
kids.
are, they're all adorable.
Yeah, I love them.
Hey, Joyce says frostweed is blooming.
Frostweed.
Frostweed.
Joyce, what is frostweed? I need to see. What is frostweed?
I don't know.
You know what? We'll figure it out.
We will figure it out.
That's the problem with common names.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, that one?
Yeah.
Common names, vary from one side of town to another, let alone one area of the country to another. So it's the botanicals that don't deviate.
That's right. What is frostweed? What was the genus of frostweed? Caroline's got it pulled up.
Neither of them had their
Verbacina. Verbacina.
We don't have our reading glasses on. Yeah.
Verbacina.
Well, Joyce, thank you for that. I have seen that around along the roadsides as well, so I just didn't really know what it was.
There's a lot tucked in there, hidden. All right, we got a live question in about blackberries. My thornless blackberry has grown. Brambles with thorns. Sounds like the back of my property.
Yes.
Will they produce berries or should I cut them down?
I mean, they'll probably produce berries for sure.
They
I
gonna
mean,
take
obviously not this year anymore, but like next spring they will. But if you don't like the thorns on, like sometimes sucker sprouts will come up non-thornless.
Yeah, and thornless is probably a bit of an overstay, but
It is.
they're more what I call thorn reduced.
Yes.
They're not nearly as spiny, but
Really?
they're not spineless. So
No, I agree.
Spineless.
Do they grow on next year's wood? The next year, and will they the blooms or
Both. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, the sucker sprouts will come up and bloom
Okay.
and set fruit, and so will the old canes.
But if you cut the ones you cut off now, obviously they won't produce fruit
This
next
year.
spring. Well, no, I'm going to do it this year anyway because this is not the time of year when they're going to produce. But you won't have them in the spring for sure if you cut them off now.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk crepe myrtles. We got quite a few crepe myrtle questions and comments in. One person just says, my crepe myrtles didn't bloom this year. Welcome to the club. Mine, one. I only have one. Did not bloom. Still no buds. I was looking at it last night.
We have heard that a few times over the season.
It's weird.
Yeah, no blooms. So I'm right there with you.
Well, I had just predictable.
Did not have that problem. No,
mine still
they're all
blooming,
over
as
the
a matter of
deck.
fact.
They're in the pool. They're all over the yard.
Mine's still blooming too.
Yep.
Well, hopefully I get blooms next year and you as well. All right, do I need to fertilize the crepe myrtles planted this before winter? Do I need to fertilize? I guess my crepe myrtles that I planted this winter. We'll just say it that.
Okay.
Should they fertilize now?
Not now. No, I would wait till spring. I mean, early spring, get it dropped down. So in the spring, when it's actively growing, it's using its fertilizer. I mean, we don't really want to push any growth right now.
And if you're using one of the Earth Mix products, they're naturally, organically nutritious, and you will be able to get great benefit from that. That will give you that organic fertility for several months, particularly going into the dormancy season. So you won't need anything until next spring.
All right. And then bush crepe myrtle with black sooty mold. Help. Should I cut it to the ground in the fall? And then they said, thank you.
That's up to you. I mean, the leaves are going to fall. Those black leaves are going to go away. If you want to cut it to the dirt, you certainly can. I mean, it's going to come back and be a 5 to 6 foot shrub next year again, and still bloom probably.
You think that maybe they're more concerned about it being on the stems and on the foliage? One of the things that I have done with some success, and it's very important that you select the right nozzle.
Yes.
But you can take a pressure washer and scrub off that, but don't use the bullet nozzle. Don't even use the next one down. Use the wide fan and start off at enough distance where that you're just taking it off. You're not trying to take the bark off. You're just trying to remove that outer layer. You can do it pretty
cut
effectively.
down the hackberries.
You can do that. It's helpful also.
Yeah.
No, I recommend low pressure washers all the time for crepe myrtles. It's really a good practice. Just like David said, just be careful. Like, work slow into it. Don't just go crazy with it right off the rip. Like,
I mean,
ease into it.
If you've got one of those bullet nozzles, you just should take it and throw it as far as you can, right in the woods. Just throw it. There's no purpose for that.
Not really.
I mean, unless there's an attacker who comes in your house and it's the only thing let me start my pressure washer.
Wait a minute, got to go out and get the water pressure going too. Let's run the hoses. But
it's quite an involved technique.
I've never used anything except the fan. I mean, there's 5 attachments, and I've never used one.
All you can guarantee that it'll do is etch things into the sidewalk that you don't want left on
or your
there.
toes.
Oh yeah,
Don't want to lose those.
No.
That would hurt. All right, I'm going to go ahead and skip to the next question. Can beautyberry grow here, and can it be grown in full shade? Yes, it can be grown here.
Mm-hmm. It does. It gets very large.
There's one at Grassmere that is giant.
They get huge.
They
get huge.
Yeah, we transplanted some big ones late in the summer to some much larger containers, and they just kept right on growing. Now the ones we have left of those are huger still. I mean, these are 7-gallon containers that are probably 4 feet across, 4 feet tall. I mean, they're loaded. They're beautiful.
That's what's awesome with beautyberry. Yeah, like you don't get that color hardly anywhere with any other berry that I can really think of, especially that persists through the wintertime. Like
even from a flower, you don't really get that.
True.
That orchid purple. That's what I would call it. It's truly a beautiful plant.
It is. And will it live in the shade? Yes, actually it will.
Is it going to bloom as much in the shade?
Probably not. Okay. Most things don't, but we keep ours in our shaded area, and they bloomed and fruited great.
Let's talk lilac. Bloomerang lilac hasn't, the wording is a little bit weird, but was planted in early spring. Appears to have blight. What should I do? Oh, no.
Appears to have blight. Well, blight is one of those kind of buzzwords, okay? I don't know why we're going straight to that. I mean,
blight gives blight a bad name.
Yeah,
it really does.
I mean, I need to see what's going on here. to say that it just has blight, I don't know that we can do that. If you have pictures, please send them to us, because I don't want to just go there. I mean, I start really with physical issues first, more so than I go like a pathogen. And I don't really see lilacs getting pathogens all that often. So, like I said, where do we send? Tell them where to send
so
that.
you can email it to gardeninginsideout@gmail.com. That's the best place to send photos, so we can take a look at it and we can get back to you.
More likely to be maybe a drainage issue or some, either too much or not enough. It's more likely some cultural thing than it is just the blight that ran across the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And affected the plants.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Which native is better for a dry, mostly sunny area, viburnum or Virginia sweetspire?
Yeah, probably viburnum out of those two. Like sweetspire can handle wet, like it's rain garden approved, so it can handle a wet area. Does it have to have a wet area? Not necessarily. And honestly, to be quite honest, sweetspire can kind of live anywhere.
Yeah,
So,
I've got one in the shade, and it's very happy.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, pick a spot, and sweetspire will probably live there.
So
but,
we're 36 minutes into the show, and now you've decided to be quite honest.
yeah.
Yeah, it just makes you question everything he said to this point. Okay.
Always question what I say.
He slept weird. Remember, he
Don't
slept
tell us that.
weird.
He
I
did.
did.
Yeah, that whole weird sleep
Still
thing.
hurts. But hey,
Blame it on the bicycle.
but yeah. But the viburnum route is a good way to go to. Literally in my yard, probably the driest spot I've got in the whole yard, I've planted a viburnum that actually Benny got me for my birthday a couple years ago.
Aw,
and
Sean.
it is totally fine. I mean, is it stressed right now? Yes. But if anything can be stressed and live, it's viburnum.
Yeah, it takes a lot to.
Oh, yeah.
A lot.
Takes a lot. I got another one planted up underneath a walnut tree. Straight up.
A
It's
viburnum?
fine. Oh, yeah.
Really? I didn't
and-
know you had two.
And
got three.
but viburnums is the entire viburnum. Are they all pretty resistant to juglone?
I believe so, yeah.
And for those you don't know, juglone is a chemical that is produced in walnut trees that many plants, and I mean most plants, find totally toxic. They won't grow around it at all, but there are a few. So if you've got walnut trees, you need to kind of search out those things that are very adaptable to that situation.
Grass is not one.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of grass that lives up underneath that walnut tree. Like you can tell the plant material that's below it. It's just like real scrubby, weedy things that can live. And then I plopped a viburnum out there because I think I read one time that viburnum was okay with it. So I did, and it's been totally fine with it.
Mahonias
fine.
are another of those things. Yep.
All right. So Sheila on our Facebook page says, "Good morning from Clarksville."
Sheila Faust.
Good morning,
yes.
Sheila.
I know Sheila.
I
I've been to
planted
your
a
house.
honeysuckle a few weeks ago. Bridget's recommendation. It has a few green leafy shoots. Does it need cutting back for winter or leave it as is?
Sheila, that's up to you, girl. I mean, if you want to leave those stems up, you're going to, like Caroline talked about earlier, like you're going to have a taller, vine if you leave it up over the winter. That gives you also opportunity if you leave some of that stuff up to see potential dieback that would happen. So like you can leave it up, and then if you do suffer some dieback, then the nature will naturally prune it down a little bit for you. Yeah. Yes, I'm using my hands. It's helpful. Some say there ain't no cure for the summertime blues. But we say Bates Nursery is. Located in Nashville, Tennessee, Bates Nursery and Garden Center is a separate world unto itself. They feature the widest variety of plants, including trees, shrubs, native plants, perennials, houseplants, and specimen evergreens. Their knowledgeable staff will assist you with any gardening needs, catering to any experience level. Open year-round, and Caroline, tell them how to get here.
Bates Nursery is located minutes from downtown Nashville off Briley Parkway, exit 19 in beautiful Whites Creek, Tennessee. You'll see it's worth the drive from anywhere. No time to visit the nursery? Shop online with delivery and pickup options available for the greater Middle Tennessee area at www.batesnursery.com.
So if you want to learn a lot about living and a little about love, visit Bates Nursery and Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932.
All right, Linda on YouTube asked, my lilac gets white powder on its leaves each year. I just live with it. Should I wait till November to cut it back?
No.
I would say no. Mine already have buds.
I was about to say, you don't want to do any cutting on lilac over the wintertime. Bad time to do it. You're cutting off a lot of your flower show if you're going to get one at all. And
It's a lilac.
it is.
Powdery mildew.
Powdery mildew loves lilac. If you wanted to try to prevent this in the spring, you certainly can with fungicides, but you have to prevent it. That's the key.
Yep.
Once you've got it, you either have to wipe off the leaves, clean them, whatever, because once you got it, you got it. But you can prevent that early in the spring. But no, don't do any cutting right now.
Or that pray for weather conditions we never receive.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is, dry. I mean, it's just if it can be fungus related in the springtime, we will get it. If there's something more susceptible than lilacs, I don't know what it is. Lilacs are extremely popular further north.
Yes.
Because they're
Gorgeous.
much less susceptible. They're fabulous,
Yes.
and they do okay here. But once they flower, and that's early in the spring here, then you cut them back,
Yep.
and you do eliminate a lot of that powdery mildew that way. So.
Yeah, my lilac blooms a little sporadically here in Middle Tennessee, but I still love it. Let's get back to questions. We've got one about hydrangeas. I purchased 2 little lime punch hydrangeas in the spring. So far, the blooms have remained green. Any suggestions how to get them to turn white and pink?
You wait. You just
You
wait.
wait.
It's just a phase. It's kind of like a tomato that's still green. You wait. It will turn red.
Yes.
And those will as well. You still got plenty of time. They're going to be that lime green color now. Fading, I say fading, brightening up to that pure white, and then fading to that kind of reddish pink. It will happen. Trust me.
And I
Trust
love
him.
all phases of the flower, and particularly when you've got one like that. It just be patient. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it will happen.
It will happen. It will fade, and it will be gorgeous. All right, must move creeping phlox. It's
Must.
a must. Now or wait till spring? I say neither. Do it a little bit later. I'm moving some, and I'm waiting until temperatures cool a little bit, and we get a little bit more rain.
Be nice to have some moisture in the ground. when you
Yes,
dig.
it would.
Yes, it would. It's a little bit hard and dry right now. So,
You sound so mad at it.
well, I kind of am.
And that's okay. We all are.
But yeah, no, like Caroline said, let's wait a little while. Let's wait for hopefully a little bit of rain. Let's hope for some cooler temperatures. Once that happens, then you can move.
And we
Creeping
are
phlox
going to
is very tough.
We are going to get both, but
Yes. Yes.
sometimes you have to, if you've got some planting projects that you need to be working on, you might need to do some slight pre-digging and let water percolate down into the ground to soften the ground up a little bit. You could run a sprinkler, but it's a lot more efficient if you can just let it soak into a spot, and makes it a lot easier to dig out
Yes.
that way. So
Yes, it does.
But get it done before spring because you want to enjoy the spring show of creeping phlox. I
Right.
mean, that's the best part of it. So
It can get all settled into its new home over winter.
the entire month of November should be a spectacular time.
Yes.
That's what I'm waiting for all of my transplants. Probably
Joyce
like
says
50
Rachel's
things.
doing a great job. By
Well,
the way.
yes, she
Yes,
is.
Rachel's doing amazing.
It's Rach. Great work. Rach.
Again, I could never do it. I
No.
would shut down and be like, I'm out. All right. We've got an email from a listener. They say, long-time listener, first-time caller. I have
Cool.
a citrus tree mystery for you all. I received a Meyer lemon from my family on Father's Day years ago. The tree is kept outside in summer and indoors under grow lights in the winter. The tree is alive and has grown a little bit, but never really flourished. There is infrequent new growth, and periodically the leaves curl. I thought I might be watering too much or too little. Moisture meter says it retains moisture. The soil on top gets powdery dry, but deep down, the soil is moist according to the meter. Maybe the pot is too big. Not sure how to get this plant to grow. I need your expert opinion. I would say that the pot's probably too big. If it's really dry up top and then it's holding a lot of moisture on the bottom, that just means when you transplanted it, when you put it in its new pot, you probably went up a little bit too large and those roots are not getting out to the new soil. And so it's retaining a lot of moisture. That would be my guess with it being powdery dry on top. Lemons and all citrus like to be pretty tight in their pots. So I would say there's something going on below soil level. So maybe pull it up and take a look and repot it would probably help you out.
Yeah,
And once again, send us some pictures. We want to see it.
and the
What
curling
was the
up.
light conditions? Did he describe light?
He said
He
grow
puts it
lights.
outside in the summer and indoors under grow lights in the winter.
I'm a little curious about the curling leaf.
They get curly leaves with pests, so it could be some
it
kind
could
of
be
pest on it.
thrips or even aphids can cause
But if
that
he's
to
had
happen.
this issue for a long time, then it should have moved along by now. Like
would think so.
the problem should be bigger. Like
Yeah.
he should have leaf drop and he should see signs that there's some kind of pest. I mean, spider mites. I would say that's what gets on citrus the most. It's like a battle. So check your leaves too. It could be a pest that maybe when you put it outside, it's getting kind of taken care of, and you bring it into the winter, it's still there and it takes over a little bit more. But check the leaves, check the top, check the underside. See if you see little webbing or little dots. That would be spider mites. Thrips are real tricky to see, but they're these long-bodied little teeny weeny bugs that are very, very fast moving. Really fast. So just take a look at it, but send us pictures. gardeninginsideout@gmail.com is the place to send them. All right, we got a live question from Jane. As I prepare for my fall veg and flower garden beds, I like to work in a layer of compost. What earth mix best fits this description, and can I bring my truck and buy half a yard or yard measure?
Tell him, David.
Baby.
Wow,
Supernatural.
Absolutely. And that's
It's good stuff.
Yeah, you're going to get really excellent results out of that. So, ask for Supernatural, and you can get it. And if you want to buy it by mini scoop, which is essentially the half volume of the big bucket, then you can certainly get it that way. It saves you money, and you get the same quality product. So, Supernatural, that will get you going.
I love Supernatural, but I did buy a lot of earthworm castings when we
I
were running
stocked
that
up
sale.
myself.
I got 8 bags.
Oh, I got 4. So, wow.
Well, I use it for my houseplants too. When I do new plantings, I like to mix it in.
And those are on sale right now as well.
Yes, they are.
50% off on the bags of
bags.
Faragra. In a blue bag, just coincidental. It's kind of
Just happened that way.
Yeah.
Hey, Joyce says, my Edgeworthia is thriving near several walnut trees. So there's another one that you could plant near walnut trees.
Joyce, you're just killing it out there.
Joyce really is killing it.
Taking great photos,
Well,
getting Edgeworthy, it'll grow.
actually, she's not killing it. They're living. That's the
She's
deal.
living it.
She's keeping everything going. All right, we got a question about cover crops. Someone is asking, cover crops for veggie garden, do you plant seeds now and then they die in the winter?
No, not all of them. That's the whole point of a cover crop. We kind of keep them up through the wintertime. So they're typically nitrogen fixating plants. Clover being one of the most common to put over the wintertime.
Yep.
And then they just bloom in the spring and just buzz with bees. So bringing in bees into your garden. So yeah, we're going to get ready to sow those seeds soon. I mean, I don't know. It's still a few days of like 90s. Let's maybe wait
I wouldn't do it yet.
I'm going to about 70s.
Yeah,
is
we're
when
getting
I'm
more for
thinking.
that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't do it right now, but you could buy them now and at least get ready to get
and
those sown.
I think that's the key is, when you're doing fall seeding, having the seed on hand and everything you're going to use for the project and be ready to move when the conditions get right. It's the forecast talks about some chance of rain later on in the week that might coincide with it. Then again, you might need to wait a little longer. What you don't want to do is get them out there and let them get wet and then get dry again.
Yeah.
Once they can lie there on the ground dry and it won't affect them at all. They're just dormant. But if you ever get them to germinate, you need to keep the moisture to them until they can get rooted in well enough to be able to establish themselves. And hopefully during this time frame is when the temperatures are cooling down. And those things tend to work together to increase the odds of doing well with fall seeding.
Fall, and they bloom early too. So I mean that really helps the bees get started for the spring.
Gosh,
It's
that's
gorgeous.
Hey, I do want to say we
Yes.
answered every single question today.
That's a
right
first.
on time. That is amazing. I am proud of us,
Well,
team.
we were all about it today. And thanks for all your questions and for all the capable panel members
Yes.
we have here. And Rachel, thank you so much for being here.
Rachel, you did it.
Bravo.
Great.
Proud of you.
So we invite you to tune in again soon. How about next week?
How about next week? Hey,
And,
you can interact on Facebook, multiple pages there. You can go out to YouTube, and some people like it. Some people are not so happy with it, but that's okay. We're here for everybody. So we'll see. But we're going to come back anyway.
Right. We're going to
Next
be
Saturday
here, so
morning.
check it out. And if you liked it the first time, watch it again.
Yeah. Bring it around. Hey, listen for the podcast during the week. And
Absolutely.
watch out for the newsletter. Hey, for everybody here at Gardening Inside Out, we appreciate you being here. We'll see you next Saturday.
Thank you for tuning into the Gardening Inside Out podcast. If you're looking for more information or more from your hosts, don't forget that we have a live Saturday morning broadcast, 8 a.m. Central Time, on YouTube and Facebook. You can also follow us on our Instagram channel. That's @Gardening Inside Out for more posts, reels, and in-depth dives to topics and things we've discussed on the show. If our content resonates with you, consider giving us a follow, like, and subscription on all of our social media pages. See you next time.